What sparked your interest in performing initially?
Oh gosh, I think I was just sort of a very rambunctious child with a lot of energy, and I would sort of like naturally perform for anybody who would be what I assumed was a captive audience. And so I think my parents were like, let's do something with this energy. So they put me into like, tap class and like the normal things you do. And it wasn't anything serious. And my friend, I think I was about 7, was auditioning for a show at the local like Jewish community center. And her mom said like, why doesn't Dana come with us? It'll be fun. And I went, and my mom was like, I don't think she has anything to sing. And I was like, I'm good. And I got up and I did a fully choreographed rendition of Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid. And my parents were like, oh, okay. And so I got it. And I kind of never stopped since then. And I think it was just one of those weird things where everything just kind of clicked. And I loved it. And I don't think I like knew it was a career path at that point. I just knew I really liked it and had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, awesome. Just like, this is what I meant to do. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
cool. So
I guess so. Yeah.
So how did your experience with Beetlejuice start anyway?
My experience with Beetlejuice started very, very early on. I think it was probably about 2017, maybe. Let's just say a lot of years ago. And in the development process of most musicals, things start out, there's something called a 29-hour reading, where you spend 29 hours in a room, sort of just like going through the script with the director, reading it out loud, hearing the music. And it's mostly for the creative team and producers to just hear it, see what's working, what's not working. So, and then you do it behind music stands, and that's very common. So a couple of us who are still involved with the show today were a part of that. And every, 6 months or so, there'd be another step in the development process, like rewrites, another reading, another workshop. And I just sort of got lucky that they kept me on and let me kind of tag along. Somehow I like tricked them into letting me do this. I'm not really sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to kind of originate this role of the...
Oh, you froze. Oh no.
Oh, there we go.
So sorry, do you mind repeating it? It just froze in a sec. Yeah.
That's all good. So how does it feel originating like the role of the Girl Scout on Broadway?
Amazing. I would say like everyone's dream is to be a part of an original Broadway company. And I would say like all of the things that were on the bucket list, I kind of got to do wrapped up in one show, like originate a role, have my own song on a cast recording, get to do the Tony Awards, get to do the Thanksgiving Day Parade. But yeah, it feels incredible, especially because I've had such a journey with the show. So it's like, the Girl Scout is me in some ways, just because it's like, I've developed it, I've created it. And so I think that's the most fulfilling thing, is to see something through an entire process, which is very, very rare. So I'm super grateful to have been given that opportunity. Yeah.
Awesome. So just like a fun question, like what 3 performers, dead or alive, would you love to have like a Dana party with if you could?
Oh, what performance would I see?
Performance, like actors or something.
So I'm so sorry. I have like a bad connection. I'm just having a hard time hearing. Are you in a hotel?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, it might be the Wi-Fi in the hotel.
Yeah. What 3 performers, dead or alive, would you love to have a dinner party with?
There we go. Okay. 100% Barbara Cook. Icon. Bernadette Peters.
Of course.
And it's so hard. I'm choosing all theater performers because I feel like that's what we're doing. And I guess I think I would choose Audrey McDonald.
Yeah. Amazing.
Those 3, yeah.
So what is it about the Girl Scout that you love playing her? Like, what is it about?
Well, I think it's always fun playing children or kids because their emotions are like 0 to 100 really, really quickly. So you get to sort of like feel all the things fast and furious. And there's really no like wrong answer because kids will do anything. And I think it's fun to play kids because, I mean, at least the way I approach it is always like not to play a child, but to sort of like play at the essence of one or at the spirit of one. Because I think it's a weird thing with an audience. If you tell them you are something, they believe you within like 15 seconds if you commit to it. So you don't really have to pretend to be anything. So I think it's sort of, the lack of inhibitions that you get. And also like Sky to me is just like eternal optimism in the face of danger. Like all the odds are stacked against her, but she's going to do it anyway. So you gotta love that. She's committed. She has gumption.
It's so funny. I imagine what it would be like, but when we saw it on Tuesday, I think I was like, oh my God, it's just like more heightened than I expected, but it was like,
Thank you.
So, also, do you have a role in like theatre, like musicals or plays that you're dying to play, or is there just like one that you've always wanted to?
I mean, in the future, there's so many. I love Sunday in the Park with George, like love. So I think at some point in my life, I would love to do Dot in that. But and then I would just love to keep originating things. But currently, I should say I'm obsessed with Six, like obsessed. I would do it all the time, and I would love to do Anne Boleyn, like love.
Oh yeah, that would be so fun. Oh, is that Green Sleeves? Yeah. So good.
Exactly.
So what is it like juggling your ensemble roles, like the Girl Scout, and then covering Lydia as well? And what does being an understudy mean to you?
So I would say that it's an interesting situation because I have like my own feature in the show as well. So being an internal cover is always interesting just because you're within the show every day, which has its advantages, right? Because you're like familiar with the space, and even when you're thrown on, you sort of like have your natural bearings because you're within that sort of world every day. But it is also hard because I can't watch it from the outside, which is, I would say, like one of the most critical learning tools you have as a cover or a swing. So that is definitely difficult. And I try to kind of check in. There's a monitor backstage, and I try to check in on certain scenes that I can every once in a while because the show evolves too. So like you want to make sure what's happening at night and what you're rehearsing twice a week is sort of this one and the same, even though we're sort of like told to go off of like the blueprint of what was Frozen opening night. You know, things change a little bit and just morph over time as people get comfortable and start to find more things. So yeah, I would say the biggest challenge is just sort of like being outside of it and not being able to sort of like assess all the time. So it's a lot of like my own personal work, but essentially we basically like, I'm going to understudy rehearsal today after this. And we rehearse, today we're doing a round of like first covers. So we're going backward just to do like a brush up rehearsal, and then everybody else will switch roles and I'll be done for the day.
Cool. Do you do it in costume when you rehearse, or is it just like whatever?
No, we don't. I should say, so normally we rehearse in street clothes, and we'll do it without like any kind of, extra stuff. We don't move sets, any of that. And then our stage management team is great, and they will provide days where we do, since Beetlejuice is such a tech heavy show, they'll bring in crew and we'll do like, special moments, aka like Lydia's levitation, the falling through the floor, the fire for Barbara, like stuff like that, the stabbing for Beetlejuice. So we will rehearse that on specific days, and then we get, hopefully, not always, sometimes you end up on stage before that, but there usually is a scheduled put-in, which means you'll do a full run through with lights, with sets, and anyone who's an understudy who's put in will be in full costume. So you'll get one shot to kind of like have all the elements, and everybody else from the company comes in and fills in all the other roles, because, it's different to rehearse Beautiful Sound, for example, with like the 12 understudies flipping between people than like actually having a full ensemble dancing around her. Yeah, so those are always like a really fun days. Yeah, and everyone enjoys them because it's like exciting to see new takes and other people shine. So it's always really fun. Yeah.
That'd be so cool. Yeah, just to like mix it up like every once in a while. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, they're really fun. Yeah.
So what has it been like having the show revive 2 years after closing on Broadway? And then what was your reaction when you found out you were coming back?
I mean, it's been amazing because I think like, you know, when we finished, there was so much, we just didn't have enough closure. Like so many people, you know, this happened to Frozen, it happened to other shows. But I think specifically with our show, there was sort of this like, we were on the precipice of all of these things happening to us, and some really cool things about to happen that just kind of disappeared. And it was such a strange feeling to like know that the fan base was out there and our show was literally just like exploding and just taking off. And then everything just stopped. But what's interesting is like coming back, we're now coming back as this like huge hit and fan favorite that people love. So that's been like a totally different experience because the demand is like automatically there. Everybody gets like entrance applause. Like everyone's so genuinely excited to finally see the show. And it's both new people and also people who had seen it, you know, 15 times. And then also just like people who found the show during the pandemic and then waited 2 years to be able to see it. So it certainly means so much to us. And I think it means so much to the fan base that we're back. But it's been truly like thrilling because it really is unlike any show I've ever been a part of. Truly, it is like the greatest group of people. It is really like family. And we just had a really, really good time. Like we were just saying yesterday, there's a Broadway softball league. Beetlejuice, I would say it's famously not athletic and we lose every time, but everyone is jealous of our company because we definitely have the most fun and they know it.
That's probably that, like, having the most fun. When I was there the other night, it was like a rock concert when like each character came out. I was like, I've never been to a show like this before. Yeah,
it's like, honestly, it's like shocking. Like the fact that anyone would applaud for me when I walk on stage to do like a 2-minute number, but it has nothing to do with me. It like speaks to the world of Beetlejuice and how much it means to people and that they're literally like, it's almost like you've been waiting to go to Disney World. Like that's the only kind of excitement I can compare it to for the first time. And you're like, I'm at Epcot, I'm staring at Epcot, you know?
Literally like my sister and I went and we're like, oh my God, we're finally here. Like it's been so long. Like we're listening to the cast recording like pandemic and like we're inside for so long. Like we're trying to imagine what it would be like on stage as well. And like finally there, we're like, oh my God. We kind of want to see it again. But anyway.
Totally. And it's a show like you can see again because I think there's so much to look at. So it's like you almost miss some of the stuff the first few times because there's so much happening and especially all the ensemble dancers are all doing such amazing work individually and doing different things. So it's fun to watch them. That's like one of my favorite things to do is to pick somebody and like watch them in a number.
Yeah, just follow them and see what they do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Just a few more. But what do you love about Eddie Perfect's music he created for the world of Beetlejuice? Because he's Australian, I thought I'd ask that question.
Oh, absolutely. I think Eddie's an amazing lyricist. And I think he's come up with really amazing lyrics that, like, if you look at Say My Name, so much happens in that song. Beetlejuice and Lydia have never met before. And I just think it manages to, like, do so much in a 4-minute song. But I think the thing I like the most is honestly that every song is kind of borrows from a different genre. So it kind of, like, runs the gamut and each thing feels different. Like, Girl Scouts decidedly musical theater. And then you have Dead Mom, which feels like an Avril Lavigne kind of like teen angst, Olivia Rodrigo kind of feeling. And then you get Home, which to me feels more like a Brandy Carlisle moment. You know, and like Creepy Old Guy borrows from like I just think it's fun. Say My Name has sort of like a reggae beat to it also a little bit. Like it's just I think that's really fun that each thing is sort of thematically different.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, he's so cool. I met him like a few weeks ago when he did 9 to 5 in Australia. And I was talking about, like I've been to Beetlejuice. He's like, you're gonna love it. I was like, I did.
Yeah, and I'm so excited. I'm sure it's going to Australia and it's gonna be huge there because I feel like the humor is very Australian.
Yeah, and I saw his concert last year, his solo concert, and he said he had to cut a few things because, I don't know, Americans might not get the humor as much because it was a bit more, I don't know, crude or something. But he showed us like the original song of some of them, like Dead Mum and stuff. And, so it was cool.
Oh, I will say the first readings of Beetlejuice, and even the Out of Town was much dirtier. Like if now we found like a nice PG-13 with a couple R-rated moments, like it was decidedly rated R. It had a parental advisory.
Really?
I loved that version, but I think ultimately our creative team did the right thing and crafted it so that the whole family could enjoy it. But I have love for every version of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to see the progression of it though. Yeah,
exactly.
Cool. What do you hope like audiences take away from Beetlejuice, and do you think it makes people think about their own mortality in a way?
You know, I don't know if it makes people think about their own mortality, but I certainly think that I think the important thing about our show is that we have a girl at the center of it who's not like a princess or trying to find love. She's just like a real girl going through actual, real human emotions that most teenagers, I think, go through. And I don't think a lot of shows like actually discuss depression or feeling suicidal and all those things. And yes, we do it through the lens of humor, but it's still very real. And I think Lydia's journey has always been like the grounding force of the show, of all the craziness that's happening around her. She's sort of like the heart and the reality. And I think that oddly, our show is like more appropriate post-COVID because we all went through this like grief, whether you lost somebody or it was just like the loss of like jobs or work or connection or whatever it was for you. So like weirdly, our show is like more relevant now. And I think people are just like ready to laugh at the grief. And so I think our show does that really well. And it just sort of teaches you that like life can be really, am I allowed to swear? I don't know if it's like a swear, but I'm like, life can be shitty. And you can get dealt a shitty hand. But it's sort of like, you have to look at it through humor and like see the love around you. And I think our show also just like fan base wise means so much to people. And I feel like the most amazing thing about our fan base is sort of like how many people I've met at the stage door who met through our show. And it just proves that sort of like you can feel disconnected, you can feel unseen, you can feel strange and unusual and all those things. But if one person gets you, that can save you. And I think that's like really beautiful and very serious for like a silly musical that we're doing. But I think it's very real. That you just kind of need one person. Yeah. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, one last thing, I have like a little wordplay game if you're up for it.
Sure.
So,
I just saw your shirt.
Oh, yes. I found it on this online store. I was like, I'll wear it, So, so it's just like a little wordplay game where I say like a phrase and then you say the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the phrase.
Okay. Yeah. These make me very nervous. Okay.
I went to a party, don't worry. So, your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Okay, I get asked this a lot. I actually have celiac, so I can't have them, but I think it would be Samoa's because I love coconut.
Oh yeah, nice. Is there like gluten-free ones or celiac-friendly ones?
There is. It's like a shortbread cookie, which isn't like my personal favorite kind of cookie. And I think it has some toffee in it. So like it's good, but it wouldn't be like my favorite.
Oh yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. So what would be like the show or shows you would see on like your day off if you had time?
Right now, I should say that I made a point to see like everything before we went back to work. So the things currently on my list to see would be MJ. And then I'm really excited I have a bunch of friends in Devil Wears Prada. So when that comes in, I'm super excited to see that. And I'm really excited for Almost Famous also.
Yeah, those ones are...
So it's more stuff I'm excited to see. And I'm excited to see Kimberly Akimbo again, which I saw off Broadway and I'm obsessed with.
Oh,
it was so good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm seeing MJ tonight, so I'm looking forward to it because the choreography apparently is really good. Yeah.
Yeah. All the video clips I've seen of all of the Michaels are like wild. They're all so talented.
Yeah. Just like keen. So what was your favorite New York restaurant, do you think? Or like suggestion for us?
Oh gosh, that's so hard because you can never have enough. I feel like, but depending on the food type you wanted, do you have a food, like a want in terms of like, do you want Mexican? Do you want seafood? Oh gosh. I mean, I have a favorite sushi place, but I would say if you're speaking about Midtown, I'll go with Midtown just to narrow it down. Like if you're thinking like theater dinner, there's a place, my between show dinner always comes from Pure Kitchen, which is just like a little kind of like hole in the wall, family owned, like healthy restaurant. But if you want to sit down dinner, I like Westville. And I also like Casa Lula, which is a wine bar, and it's delicious with like tapas. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. So Beetlejuice, what's the first thing that you think of?
The first thing I think of is Beetlejuice. Honestly, I think of the shrunken head and having to get in it every night.
Wait, are you in the shrunken head at one point?
Yeah, which is both iconic and painful.
So how does it work? Like, is it just like you put your head under it or something?
Yeah, it sort of sits on you like football gear and then attaches like headgear. So like I control it. And it sits. So it's like not the most comfortable thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw like the version of it near like the merch stand the other night, and I was like, oh my god, so cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So, NYU.
Friendship. All my best friends from college.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we went past it the other day. I was like, oh, I think Dana went there.
Yeah.
And Lydia.
Soul. Like I think of kind of just like she's the soul of the show. And I think that's very fun to do as an understudy too. Just like it's a very different experience from what I experience every night in terms of like I go on, I do my number, but I don't get to interact with everybody. And so when I'm on as Lydia, it's like so nice to like be able to breathe and do scene work. And it feels both challenging but also like rewarding to do that journey every night when you get to do it. So yeah, I would say probably soul is the first word that comes to mind.
Cool. Avenue too?
Hard. Because puppeteering is not like my first, like I'm an actor first, and the puppeteering thing is sort of like they see if you have a natural affinity for it, and then you work extremely, extremely hard. And some people like get to a crazy level and are excellent. I would not say I'm there, but it's just super, super challenging. It's painful. It's so much harder than you could ever imagine. And literally, I think the world of puppeteers because it is so hard. And when you see good ones, you're just like, it's mesmerizing. So yeah, that was a very challenging show.
You had to learn how to do it when you got the show? Like, is that how it worked?
Yeah, so they do it sort of through the process of your callbacks too. So like you go to puppet camp, which sounds more fun than it is, but like you basically learn how to like walk with the puppet and like, you know, sync your voice and like what you would do. And then you sort of incorporate it in your final callback. They give you puppets and you do everything with it. So it's just an interesting experience as an actor because you're working backwards. So because like I'm not somebody who comes in memorized. I kind of memorize on my feet and I like to play around and figure it out. But with the puppet, you have to be sure that the puppet will follow your instincts. And so until you're confident enough with the puppet, you kind of have to lock into a consistent performance. So it was just very hard for me. But also like, again, very rewarding and very, very fun to do. And I love the show, but it definitely is like, people do not realize how hard that is.
It's like a new skill set. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite Beetlejuice song?
Say My Name.
Yeah, classic. I love that one. And what's your TV show binge right now?
Binge. I can't say it's a binge because we're watching it week to week as it comes out, but we love For All Mankind on Apple. Have you seen this?
Ooh, I haven't seen that. No. Is it good?
It's so great. Yes. I'm obsessed. I love stuff about NASA. I'm just fascinated by it, but it recreates the timeline of history as if the Russians landed on the moon first. So,
wow.
Yeah,
so
it's very cool. So it's like, yeah, and it's like the space wars basically in the race. Now we're on like the race to Mars in season 3. So, and each season jumps in time. So I want to say it started in like the 50s or 60s, but now we're in the 90s. So it's very cool. So you're watching all the characters age, and like women, women were astronauts like in the 50s on the show. So it's like everything is different progression wise. It's very fun and easy to watch. You're just like, so it's a really good, just like let it go. And then, sorry.
So it's on Apple. Yeah,
it's Apple. And then the other thing I would say, the best Hacks on HBO if you haven't seen it yet.
Okay,
amazing.
As well. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll just like final thing. What's your favorite thing about performing? Like favorite thing?
Oh, I just honestly that feeling you get. It's like for me, I think like in a weird way. I think a lot of people would say this. Like theater feels like what some people I think feel like in church. Like it feels like this release, and it feels like this kind of spiritual connection that you get to have with an audience every night, and that conversation that you get to have, especially after not being able to be in a room with so many people for 2 years. It's like even heightened. So it's joyful and kind of like spiritual in a way, because it's just like you get to connect with so many people at once, and feeling that energy and receiving that energy is like, can't really articulate it, but it's a very special and specific feeling.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. So I think that's all the questions I had. I also just wanted to say my sister and I like absolutely love like the cast recording, and we're like obsessed with it over the pandemic, and like I gave her like a cameo of you for her birthday as well. And she was like, tell Dana that like she's awesome and stuff, because she couldn't come, like my other sister, so she's at home.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll tell her. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, well tell her she's awesome. Thank you.
Cool. So thanks for that. And you have a great show today as well.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, great. See you. Bye.
You're hoping to see. Wait, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You're hoping to see the.
That's okay. Yeah, we're hoping to see it again on Sunday night before we leave. So.
Oh, fun. Sunday nights are fun. Everyone's lost their minds by Sunday nights, so everyone is having a really good time. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. Bye.